Danny Roberts vs. Oliver Enkamp set for UFC Fight Night 127 in London. The UFC's return to London in March still is without an announced headliner, but the card continues to build. England's own Danny Roberts, 14-3 MMA, 3-2 UFC, is set to take on Oliver Enkamp, 7-1 MMA, 0-1 UFC, in a welterweight bout at UFC Fight Night 127. UFC officials announced the new booking today. UFC Fight Night 127 takes place March 17th at the O2 in London. The entire card streams on UFC Fight Pass. Vitor Belfort has some thoughts on Michael Bisping's refusal to fight him in London. Roberts will be looking to rebound from a head kick knockout loss Nordine Taleb at UFC on Fox 26 a month ago. Taleb was a short-notice replacement for Sheldon Westcott. Roberts has alternated wins and losses in his past 4 UFC fights. Enkamp needs to bounce back from the first loss of his pro career this past May at UFC Fight Night 109. Coincidentally, that unanimous decision loss also came to Taleb. The Swedish fighter had started his career a perfect 7-0 before the setback in his UFC debut. With the addition, the latest UFC Fight Night 127 lineup includes Leon Edwards vs. Peter Sobotta, Mark Godbeer vs. Dimitri Pabarizets, Magomed Ankalaev vs. Paul Craig, Nasrat Haqparast vs. Alex Reyes, Jan Blachowicz vs. Jimmy Nanua, Kajan Johnson vs. Rustam Kabalov, Charles Bird vs. John Phillips, Jack Marshman vs. Elazar Zaleski, Oliver Enkamp vs. Danny Roberts.